on this computer. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so what we're going over today is something that kind of gets brought up every once in a while here and there. I usually don't try to overwhelm new clients with a whole bunch of just information like this. I like to slowly deliver information as my clients are kind of ready for it, instead of overwhelming you. But one of the biggest things is, what's the difference between a warm-up set, an acclimation set, and a working set? And maybe you've never heard of any of those. I'm sure you've probably heard of warm-up before, but maybe you have no idea what those differences are and how they apply to you. So like I said, it's not something that I really preach about in the beginning, but as you really get into your groove, and as you're ready to actually start seeing and making progress in the gym and with your lifts, once we have proper form and all of that, this is really how we're going to execute your workout programs correctly. All right. So when you're in your workout program and you see that you have 3 sets of a leg press, those are your working sets. I'm going to get into what's a warm-up set and what's an acclimation set. So everything that we're logging in the app and that you're programmed to do is assuming that that's your working set. However, when you first walk into the gym, maybe you walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes, maybe you do your dynamic warm-ups and stretches. Now we're going to go over to a leg press, right, which tells us to do 3 sets of 8 to 10. First things first, we're not going to get on that leg press and put on the weight that you logged the last time. Or maybe you do, because the last time you logged it, you actually were doing a warm-up set and didn't know it. So a warm-up set is when you first get on the machine or first get on into, whatever movement or exercise you're doing, and you perform that movement with lighter weights, higher reps. I say that loosely. When it comes to warm-ups, I don't even count reps. I just want you to really get into your body. We're warming up and preparing your muscles, your joints, your nervous system, and just like the actual muscles we want to be working in that movement specifically, we're warming those up to prepare for the heavier lifts. Okay, so like you're going to get onto a leg press. Let's just start off with no weight first, right? Like just wrap it out, warm up your joints, get some pressure on the ankles and the knees, open up the hips. Like I said, you don't even need to count those reps. And very important to make sure you're not gassing yourself out during this time. This will increase blood flow, help flexibility, and also just mentally prepare what's coming up, get you kind of in the zone. Because when we are adding and loading heavy weight, you better be present and know what's going on. It's not a good idea to, not really be in the workout yet mentally. I also recommend use your best judgment for this, but I would say the majority of the time, especially if you have like an entire leg day or an entire back day, maybe if it's a full body day, this doesn't apply. But this really only needs to be done for your first 1 or 2 exercises. So like I said, let's say your first exercise is the leg press. Let's start off with a warm-up set. And then maybe your next exercise is a deadlift. Let's do the same thing. Let's do a warm-up set. But then after that, when we go into Bulgarian split squats, you probably don't need to do a warm-up set, right? So maybe you'll just for the first and second exercise. And then for the rest of the time, you're in it, you're already sweating. And we can just jump right into acclimation sets. So after you do your warm-up sets, just for the first 1 or 2 exercises, but for all exercises, an acclimation set is very important because this is when we are actually going to be adding weight. So these are performed after the warm-up sets, serving to gradually increase the weight before reaching your working sets. So with this example of using the leg press for 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps, let's say we put a 45-pound plate on each side, 90 pounds total, and we can rep that out and we can get 10 reps, and it's challenging, we're sweating, we repped out 10. That was already at the end range of the working set. This was also the first time you performed this with weight. That was an acclimation set, okay? Especially if you finish it, you completed it, you're not on the floor dying, okay? That was an acclimation set. Now maybe let's add a 25 on each side of that, okay? And then we do that again. And then we get to 8 reps. All right, that was probably your first working set, right? If you did that 8th rep and you could not have gotten to 9, and you're like, all right, this is a good weight because I'm now within this rep range, and this was challenging, and I need the full 90 seconds to truly let my nervous system, my muscles, the lactic acid that just built up, release. That takes time. If you can go right into your next set and perform it under 60 seconds or under 90 seconds, That's okay. You're not a bad person, but you're just not you're not doing strength training. You're not doing the thing that will produce the result that we're going for. So an acclimation set, kind of just like what it sounds like. You're just getting acclimated to the weight. Again, I don't think you need to count. Well, maybe, yeah, maybe you should count the reps for these. Actually, I lied. Yeah, count the reps for these because that will tell you where you are and compared to the rep range that you need to be at. Okay. And then again, be sure not to gas yourself during these. Just get acclimated. Okay. Give yourself lots of rest time too. We're trying not to get too fatigued or put excess strain on your body before we go into, drum roll please, our working sets. So these are the sets that you log in the app. This is what it says in your program to do, 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. And this is when we're warmed up. We know what we're doing here. We're really pushing and we're trying to hit that weight for 3 sets. You probably are doing this correctly if, let's just use the example again of the leg press with a 45 and a 25 on each side. And for that first set of the working set, you got 8 reps. Okay, we rest a full 90 seconds, maybe a full 2 minutes. We go back again and we get 9 reps. Okay, we wait and we rest the whole 2 minutes, whatever. We go for our third and final set and we can only get 7 reps. That's probably fantastic. Even if you're not in the rep range, that's probably very good. And that means that we were in our true working set. And now when we do this again next week, we know we're making progress. We know we are following the rule of progressive overload. If we get 9 reps the first set, 8 reps the second set, and then 8 reps again that third set instead of 7. Couldn't remember what the number is that I used for the example, but do you see how that now we have truly progressed? That is progressive overload. That's how we're going to keep track of strength. We're not just keeping track of endurance. How long can we move this weight for? That's amazing when we do cardio. Endurance is so important, and even some plyometric movements, which some of you guys have that in your programs too, of anything that's like jump squats, jumping Bulgarian split squats, if you're a lucky one who gets those, box jumps, plank jacks. That's great when we're working on muscular endurance, and that is the goal. But when we are in our strength training, we really want to be truly doing that, putting weight and tension on the muscle and having it perform and press through a strength like level that it hasn't gotten to before, so that you have to adapt. So your body has to adapt and do something new, meaning grow lean muscle mass in order to adapt to this new stimulus that you presented to your body. All right, that's it. Does this make sense? Anybody have questions? Let me stop sharing my little screen.
I have questions.
Go off. Who was that?
Journey. So what exactly is, sorry, I'm eating peanuts, progressive overload? What does that exactly mean?
Good question. That actually was what I was going to title this call when I changed it a million times because I was like, how do I word this? It's that. It is that example of, 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps for the leg press. Week 1, we got, let's say 9 reps. Last set, we got 8 reps. And because you could not perform that 9th rep in your last set. Next week, when we go back, we do it again, and we're giving ourselves, again, long rest so that we're not testing our endurance. But now this following week, we're able to do 9 reps, and 9 reps for that 3rd set. That was progressively overloading. Also, the best example is when you're in the gym and you see those like very small 2.5 pound plates. Most gyms have 2.5 pounds. If not, sometimes they only have 5 pounds. If you just add those onto something that you haven't done before, that's progressive overload. So now maybe next week too, instead of just the 45, 25, but you also added just a 2.5 on each side and you perform them, that's progressive overload. So just over time, progressively overloading the muscle.
So I've been like accidentally doing that, I guess, like progressive overloading. Because Sheena and I just started I don't even know what phase we're on, but I just started a new set of workouts last week or the week before, and I'm doing the leg press, literally exactly what you're saying. And the first time I did it, I so severely underestimated myself, and I just put a 5 on each side. And I was repping it out, and I was like, wow, this is like feathers, so light. So then I did like 10s and then 25s. And then the next week I was like, shoot, let me start with 25s. And then I was up to 55 on each side. So I guess that's right. That's how you're supposed to do that.
Yeah, perfect. And that is why I don't usually try to like bombard some new clients with this information, is because it does sometimes usually just naturally happen anyway. But now we can kind of label what you had done then, what you had really done, what you did some warm-up sets, you did some acclimation sets, and then you found your working set weight. And now we can really track progressive overload when we know your working set weight. We can't really track it if we're just tracking your warm-ups, your acclimation, because then it looks like you're always progressively overloading, but you really only are if it's something that's been measured.
I have
Sydney?
a question.
I see you.
Hi. Is it better to do a heavier weight? So like how you were talking on the leg press, like say you're putting 25s on both sides. Is it better to like try and put another 10 on each side and like speed up your tempo, or have a slower tempo with the 20 with like a more like hard weight, but it's not like where you're really pushing yourself?
Good question. There's a lot of layers and a lot of different answers. Basically, there's no answer to that. There's different techniques that you could do. And these are, so technically what you're talking about, like tempo, is a form of progressive overload as well. So let's say, just with the normal example, we are at a leg press, we have a 45 and a 25 on each side. We were able to do for 3 weeks in a row now, 3 sets of 10 reps. We just can't get to that 11th rep. So what we're going to do instead is really focus on pressing, like getting the concentric part of the movement as quick as you can. So focusing on the power and the speed. So we didn't add any reps, we didn't add any weight, but we're making it more challenging by focusing on tempo and really getting speed. Also, on the flip side, another way to make that more challenging and to get stronger and therefore eventually be able to add weight or add reps is, let's take that same weight for same 10 reps, but slow it down. Let's do 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up. That is really freaking hard. So if you do that, even though maybe the weight and the reps didn't go up, but utilizing tempo as your form of progressive overload is also a great, one of my favorite ways to get stronger, because you don't need to just put more stress, more weight on the joint. Sometimes we just need to be able to control the movement with more intention, which is why I love yoga. I would like, seriously, because yoga is what forces you to slow down and feel the shakes and feel the burn. And that will get you so much stronger. And then you go and perform your normal lifts again. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so much stronger. All because you did yoga. But anyway, I digress.
And Pilates.
Yes.
Just about to say that. I was like, oh my God, I did Pilates. And then I was in the gym the next day and I was like, no, I can't lift this.
So Pilates, it focuses on like 4 counts each way. So it really targets like the small muscle fibers. But I would say that like in the class yesterday that me and Tara were in, the shakes are, and there's like not that much weight on there. I mean, I push some weight in the gym, but those Pilates classes are humbling.
Yeah, they're humbling for sure. I know. I was like, yesterday was supposed to be like a rest day, and she was like, "You want to go to Pilates?" Like, sure. It was like harder than any workout I've done.
I looked at her and I was like, I'm so sorry. This teacher chose violence tonight.
Literally. So yeah, so incorporating stuff like that into your routine is also really good. In addition to like power and strength and all that. So any other questions?
Yeah, is so to piggyback, I think it was Sydney that asked this question about the like slower reps and more weight versus like kind of a quicker tempo. Is time under tension like the best way or a better way for strength training and like lifting heavy? Is that like, because that's what I try to do normally, is keep my muscles under tension for a longer period of time with heavier weight. And sometimes that means that I do less reps than I wanted to. Like if I'm shooting for 8, like I can only do 6 because I was time under tension for so long. You know what I mean? Like negatives almost too.
Gotcha. So yes, there's a lot of benefit of time under tension. And yes, there's a lot of benefit of using the negative, where you're going really slow on the way down and normal tempo on the way up. So yeah, there's definitely benefits to that. However, that is very taxing on the nervous system. Just like you said, you'll probably not be able to get through all the reps. So you want to make sure we're only using that sometimes. Let's, and if you're at that level, where you're ready to incorporate things like time under tension and counting tempo and stuff like that, that's something that me and Sheena can like program into your workouts so that it's intentional when it's happening. You don't want to be doing negatives every set, every rep, every movement. You'll just be gassed, you'll be taxed, and you're doing that more than you are like getting stronger sort of thing. So as long as it's utilized occasionally and intentionally in order to like get stronger or to progress in something specifically, then yes. Yeah, I love some time under tension, but I also love working on like explosivity as well. Like how fast can we actually get through it and with control, you know, and if it's heavy weight, fast is like 2 seconds. So it's like not that fast. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question.
I don't have another question, but I just want to shout out to you and Sheena for doing that program with adding the 50 people and doing that. That's just like huge for you as a career move. So shout out, you guys are killing it. Give credit where it's due. So good job, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It feels like that. It feels like, oh my God, this is like a real business, doing business stuff, being an entrepreneur and marketing. So, and I'm so
You're a
glad
real
to
business owner. You're not
Huh?
Delulu. I said you're a real business owner. You're not just Delulu.
I still feel like sometimes I'm living in Delulu. But yeah, and I'm glad we cut it off at 50 because I'm not very tech savvy. So I don't have a way to like automate things. I'm doing everything one by one. So 50 is a perfect amount.
You better call your accountant, little business girl.
That's my accountant right there.
I was literally about to say, is Katie your accountant?
She's literally Frequency's accountant, yes. Which is funny. So anyway, if you guys want to get on the call, I'll be posting it afterwards, just if you're nosy and want to see what's going on or just join the fun. But yeah, so good call tonight. Love ya. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.